Hello and namaste to all of you. I hope you all are doing well. Happy Easter Sunday. It's a real honor to connect with all of you. Before we begin, let's just take a moment and just close our eyes. And we're going to ask Grace just to be here with us during this. So make sure you're sitting upright. Keep your palms face up on your thighs. And you're going to consciously breathe by inhaling and expanding your belly like a balloon. Let the air go all the way to the top of the throat. And you're going to exhale from the throat down, twice as long, deflating the belly fully. So just repeat that. And on every exhalation, you're going to soften your whole body. So as you exhale, you're going to soften your face and your shoulders, all the muscles in the body, and you're just going to gently sink into the heart. And now that we're in the heart, all find a space inside of deep gratitude. Gratitude to life, to your divine, to anything you're grateful for. But let's soften the heart into a feeling of gratitude collectively together. I myself chant the words internally, thank you so much. Thank you so much. But whatever works for you. You're just going to slowly bring your hands, place them on your heart. Maintain this deep breath. And in whatever way it is to you, and however it is to you, get in touch with that sacred, the divine, God, the Christ, whatever it is, whatever name. Ask that presence to very powerfully be with you now and fill your heart, your body, and the whole room you're in with His consciousness. And now we're going to ask as a group, we're going to ask that that presence surrounds us as a class and stays with us this entire session very, very powerfully. So just maintaining that connection and that breath, that state of gratitude and sacredness. We'll just slowly open our eyes, but we'll all just stay connected to that internal source. So, so first off, I just want to say namaste to you. I'm very, very deeply honored that a resonance was inside of you that felt to take a journey with us for this next 6 weeks. And this class is really, really beautiful because it's a class of your own discovery of something that is extremely important and extremely sacred and very profound. So thank you. I'll just share a little bit. I'm going to just turn it over to just a little bit of you as well. Um, this course is a course that each week we're just going to gently be building off of it. So one week we'll have one set of discoveries. The next week it will build off of that. It'll build off of that. It'll build off of that, etc. My suggestion with anything that you attend, mainly spiritually, actually, unless you get a major red flag, no kind of thing. always wait for those. Those can happen. But my suggestion is see the course all the way through. Just go through the whole journey. All our classes, all these that we'll be taking, will be recorded. So there's times you can't make a session. It's okay. Just watch replay of it, etc. But commit yourself to going through the whole journey. There's something about the discipline of the mind of committing yourself through a process, mainly when it comes to spirituality, because in spirituality, when life lines you up to undergo a process, what's actually happening in a much deeper level is life is lining you up for healing. So life is lining you up to cause a vibrational shift some way or another. It's not that I have the ability to somehow give you some kind of shift. It's just that how it works in the higher way is that life for some reason brought you here for a moment to undergo this journey, and there's something there. And as you probably all know, when it comes to spiritual processes, there's times it feels great, and there's times where it just doesn't. There's times where stuff comes up or gets hard, and that's to be very expected, because when life produces the moment for a focus in spirituality, it's actually producing a set of circumstances that might help release or heal or help you awaken out of something that was more limiting. So if you can just know, if you could take that intention for yourself and say, regardless of whether I like this or don't like this, that's to be decided. I'm going to see through the process for my own growth. Then that might be the right kind of intention for you to allow you to have the space to go through what you need to go through on the ups and downs. Because it's very easy when you're dealing with energies and we start pushing the energies up for the mind to make every reason possible to exit quick, because it just doesn't want to once again face something when it has the opportunity to run. So see the course through if you can. Doesn't mean you have to be live all the time at these sessions, but do that commitment for yourself, because that kind of structure, that kind of discipline to the mind is extremely important as we progress further. Any of us progress further on the spiritual journey. The discipline of the mind is really, really important at a certain stage. So this course is very dear to me because my entire journey in my life has always been, I want to know what's behind the curtain. So no matter what I've ever gotten into, regardless of what hobby it is, etc., I've always wanted to know what's behind it, what's behind it, what's behind it. And the whole thing with you could say God in life itself is, I've always wondered, like, well, what is God? Who is God? And what is life? And why am I here? Those are all big questions. They're very philosophical questions. And I was very passionate on my own spiritual journey to say, I have to come face to face with God. If God's real, I have to experience that. Like, I have to know. And in that passion, like any passion, something that's a strong energy inside with a very strong intention, naturally takes you on a journey of revealing that. And so this course is a course where it's not about knowledge you're going to be learning, it's about an invitation for you to see what's true inside of you. It's an invitation to discover what is God for you, what is your relationship with that, and how, what are some ways that you have find through this journey that yield a greater and greater and richer relationship. And so this journey is a very beautiful journey from acknowledging and embracing the sense of self, embracing the sense of feeling separate from the other and from life and from God, and helping very gently through this journey expose what that sense of separation is, just for the sake of awareness and learning and unlearning, and helping you realize that it will be in the end not this attempt to become one in some other direction with yourself and God and life, but to simply peel off the muck, to just simply see that the oneness has always been there the whole time. And so this journey is a really beautiful journey of discovery, and with all wisdom in general, at least how it is for me, is that I can hear things, but until I see it as my own truth, until I look inside and try to break it, to try to, does it not work for me? Only then do I come to my own experience of it. And that experience is mine. That experience is my truth, because yes, a piece of wisdom was helpful to shine a flashlight in a certain direction or help me at least look in a certain way. But what ended up happening, the discovery, that was for me to, that was my insight. And so all of our programs, everything we do is only in hopes of that. Just to say, hey, look, we're just as ordinary as you. We're no one specials. We just stand for internal growth. And from there, we're just saying, this is what's working for us. But it's an invitation to say, it may not at all work for, it may, but you'll still at the end have to discover it for yourself. So this course is all about that. In the most practical sense of this course, we'll have two classes, one on Sundays and one on Thursdays. This course is a little bit different than our other courses because this course is actually going to be more process based. We feel very strongly that the experience of God is actually very important. God actually, to us, if I was defining God, I'd say God is an actual experience, not necessarily just a belief or concept. It's a sheer on experience that's very wholesome to the truth of who you are. So this process and course will be raising the life force energies. In the East, they call them the Kundalini. I'm sure it's not a foreign name to you. We'll be raising them quite strongly towards the other half of this course to help bring you into states that this can be more of an experience. This course isn't about a promise. We're not saying you're going to land here, this is going to happen, we promise this, we promise that. It's just not. This course is just saying wherever you're at, here's some things for you to look at, and here's some things to help just simply stimulate and activate the body's energies. And it's not about walking away holding on to some experience. It's more of a general sense of discovery that's taken place for you that will naturally be hopefully helpful on your ongoing journey. The journey of spiritual growth is actually endless. If it's endless, then that means there's no real beginning, there's no real end. So if it's endless, the only thing that ever matters is exactly where you're at right now. And this course is just aimed to say, I totally acknowledge where you're at. I'm totally trying to acknowledge where I'm at. And we're all just taking a step inwards to see what's going on with where we're at. This course is going to be helpful in that way. So we have a Telegram group, a private Telegram group just for this class. So if you're not on it and you don't know how to get on it, just write to us and I'll help you on that. On a day-to-day basis, we'll be leaving voice audios on there, just helping aid along the journey for the focus of the week. Each week we'll kind of have a focus, and it will just start building off of each other, etc. So that's that in that regard. I believe there might be new people here, and so I'll just say that uh, the work of Sacred Wisdom School in general is a very passionate work for myself and my wife Prema and my friend Matthew, in the sense that we just feel very ordinary in ourselves, and we find ourselves being extremely ordinary people. But the thing that all three of us have noted in our lifetimes is that we come from a lot of fear and anxiety and hurts and pains and self judgments, tremendous judgment and competition in the external world, all sorts of very, very feeling very isolated and divisive, each one of us in our own ways. And for whatever reason, like all of you, there's just something that kind of woke up, a little alarm clock went off that just said, hey, pay attention to that, figure that out somehow, make that important in your life. So for me, at least, my life has always been a big question. Why am I so utterly miserable? That's the question. For the first 20 years of my life, it was, I'm somehow really wounded inside. I don't understand it. I have no concept even of what it means to be emotionally hurt. But my life at a certain point, when that little alarm clock went off, which was about 24, 25 years old, was a life of just saying, I just want to heal. Like, I want to be happy. I remember reading books about saints and sages who talk about unconditional love. That was the most foreign concept to me in creation. I remember getting hurt or feeling angry anyone ever mentioned the word unconditional love, because I was the furthest from feeling love in my life. I felt nothing but hurt and anger and a lot of fear. So my life has just been a path of saying, I already know what's down that street and it's not working. And I don't know what's down this street, but I got to try something I haven't done before, which is I got to start healing. Whatever it is, blindly walking forward, I got to solve this. So my life has been a pursuit of that. And for all three of us, we had the opportunity to live in India for many years, and had the opportunity to learn how to find our own spiritual foundation and learn the arts of self-healing. And so at a certain point in my life, I started finally having a glimpse of love inside. It was a glimpse, but my God, when you're stuck completely in the dark and the smallest ray of light cracks through, how glorious that ray of light is. So like, woo, we're celebrating. The war's not over. The armies are all marching pretty aggressively at you, but you're like, nah, man, we're doing good. So that's my journey, has been a journey of crack by crack, ray of light after ray of light. And I myself don't consider myself enlightened or awakened. I don't consider myself anything other than the thing I stand for, I believe, for myself, is allowing myself to show up each moment and be completely honest where I'm at. Because I don't hold on to the shackles of whether I'm awakened or unawakened. I don't hold on to the shackles of spiritual merit. I am only concerned, where am I at right now? And with what I've learned, the principles I've learned, how do I find myself once again into the rays of light, out of unconscious suffering and struggles and the hell of the mind? So for me, my life has been a life of flowering the moment I'm in with a lot of honesty and a lot of awareness and a lot of self-compassion. So this course is a course that really encompasses everyone wherever they're at and invites them to home inside themselves to understand the various principles that can be very, very helpful to continue to flower yourself into a higher and higher states of being at one with everything. Because that's, I believe, the unconditional love that I have found so far in my life has all been as the layers and walls of feeling separate from reality have crashed, and the natural state of feeling at one with everything has consumed. that's where I found the unconditional love. That's where I stepped out of further and further as each wall fell, of being caught in the psychological suffering. And that's where me and the experience of God and the experience of life have once again returned to the natural state of feeling all one and the same. And so this course is a course to help nurture this journey in anyone. It's simply from one brother on the path, just sharing some wisdom, and as Prema and Matthew will as well, just to simply stoke your fire of your own internal discovery. So, so that's that. So I think I'll start, and there's a lot of people in this course, so I won't be able to go like piece by piece to each person. But I would love to ask in general, if somebody feels strong to speak, and it's okay if you don't, that how can this course help you? Like, who can be honest enough to just say, this is where I'm at, and this is how it can help me? I would love to just hear from somebody, just to say, how can this course really help you with where you're at? Because there's something fascinating I found, which is that when a group of people all come together, it's all resonance, something's pulled us all like a family together. Strangely enough, we are like a collective. So like one person's insight or one person's need ends up being sort of all where we're all at, and it can be very helpful. So if somebody would like to share, a couple people, like how can this journey help you? What's going on, Let me okay. Yes, Jen.
Good morning, namaste. It's good to see you again. I was doing really well, and a few years ago, I'm going to be really honest, I was drugged and I was raped by someone that I know, and I'm having trouble getting back to that quiet space. It's difficult for me to meditate. It's difficult for me to read, and part of that is the brain, the trauma brain, but part of it is fear, because that's the space I was in when I got hurt.
Yeah.
And I know it's a psychological twist. I know it's a lie, but I'm hoping to, excuse me, my goal here is to come home to the heart again, and to trust, and to move forward with love again. So thank you.
Beautiful. Can you write to me an email privately? Because I'd like to connect with you about this a little bit privately, if that's okay as well.
I would love that. You seem to be with me on the most interesting turns in my life. So I would love to connect with you again.
Please
Thank
do.
you.
I have a feeling inside. I'll share it with you privately. So
Thank you.
yeah. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Doug.
Good to see you.
Nice to be here. I was thrilled when this course was offered, because as my journey unfolds, I was at one time very connected to the divine and felt very strongly and on more of a bhakti path. And that has kind of faded, and it's become more of a path of knowledge, which is fine. And that's been very enlightening as well. But I just want to reconnect and really just set the discipline, like you said, to be connecting on a regular basis. And I think that's kind of fallen away for me. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Mary. Hi, Sherry and David. It's always lovely to see both of you. I have to say this as well. There's a person named Alfredo. Alfredo, you have the most beautiful smile, like a shining light. Good to see you. Anyone else would like to share?
Hello.
Yes, please.
Thank you, everyone. I'm happy to be here with you all. I'm 27 years old and I live in Mexico. And I have been a very intense spiritual seeker for many years. I have also been in India and with different masters. And I was having a lot of insights and I was feeling much better. But since probably 1 year, I started to feel stuck and a lot of pain and things like that. So I wanna clear myself up so I can also contribute like you and help many people. That's my wish.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming here. So, yes, Charlotte, good to see you. Feel like we don't see enough of each other, Charlotte. You have to unmute yourself.
When I was a oneness blessing giver for many years, I got that flowing energy of the divine through that. And since that has been halted and I no longer have access to giving blessings, I would like another way to discover, to have that divine energy flow.
Beautiful. Yeah, there's something I'll share for a moment. Like I said earlier, the divine's actually an experience. And the ancient yogic way, actually, which I understand is not the way of of people in society at this stage, probably will change in about 200 years, honestly, was cultivating actually and bringing up your life force energy, conserving it in a very big way. And all because they understood that when you go into a much higher state, you experience God. We'll get into what God is, what God as you discovered, but it's an experience actually. And so we'll be in this course, I'll be showing you various meditations that will be focused on in certain kinds of ways to invoke, to put you into very strong awakened states. These awakened states can be very helpful because they start opening up these higher energy centers, and you'll start moving into what they call samadhis. They're not really big ones. Maybe it goes into that for you. I don't know. Some people are different, but they'll put you in a state where you'll feel tremendous energy, divine consciousness. So to answer your question, yes, this course is actually going to do that. But we're going to focus on that on the last teaching time with very high states. And so hopefully that'll be helpful when you pray from that state, or you touch a person from that state, or bless a person from that state. Tremendous amounts of divine energies would flow under the intention that you hold. So we'll show those things if it can be helpful for you, you know. Yes, Sherry and David.
Hi, in my experience, it seems like I would focus on one aspect of, I'll say, the journey. So it might be flowering of the heart, or it might be whatever it is. And recently, it seems like my focus has been on the idea of witness. And so it's not good or bad. It's just the way my journey is progressing. But I have this sense that I'm kind of missing out on the whole. I seem to think about witness as being it, and I don't want to be trapped in this idea that there's an end to this or that. So the idea of this course to just kind of open me up to a more general sense of, I'm not even sure what the question is, but I seem stuck on something that I'm trying to find an answer to when maybe there isn't. Maybe So more general experience, I guess. I'm not quite sure what I'm trying to say, but
yep.
I seem a little bit stuck on something that it's not good or bad. It is, and I guess I just don't want to feel stuck. I don't know.
Yeah. I understand that. Yeah. I've actually been trying to text both of you the last couple of weeks, but I think you only have a landline. So I've been writing text and it hasn't been answered. Can you both also email me? Because there's something I also wanted to get in touch with you as well. So please email me as soon as you can, or when you can, and I'll talk to you about that. But anyways, a separate note with what you're saying. This is not like it's going to be a solution for you, but I just want to state this because it came to my mind. You're saying that I found that freedom was never found in the answer, but it was always found in the absence of the question itself. And so the whole thing with the mind is it's constantly trying to understand, to somehow come to some experience or conclusion. But all that understanding is because we're not trying to address the actual experience. So this course will really hit at that as well. And this course can be very helpful for that. The feeling stuck part, you know. So I hope it is helpful for you. So. Yes, please, Cindy. I'll get you Patrick.
Hi, thank you. I'm gonna put you on speaker view so I can see you. Thank you. And thank you for answering all my emails. Namaste. I feel so joyous just at what you shared about. I feel like a similar journey, like right from a childhood. I never understood God or the word God or the word Father and all that. Just it bothered me, and I didn't get unconditional love in the home that I'm in, was brought up. So when you shared that God is a share on experience of who I am, wow, like that opened up a space of such joy, like tears came to me. And I feel like that is what I want to be in presence and in life with other people, no matter what's showing up in front of me. And so that's yeah, that's what resonated with me, is to become into resonance with my heart in the way I am in the world with other people. So thank you so much for this opportunity and for all the beautiful souls that are here on the journey together. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mhm.
Patrick, good to see you.
Thank you. Great to see you, Doug. Happy Easter to everybody.
Happy Easter.
I'm here for the support to help continue to strengthen my relationship with my personal divine and get back to collaborating and co-creating. That the relationship is still so polluted from old conditioning, from old organized religion of it's got so much fear and, as a divine authority figure. And I'm making a shift more towards like a divine friend and a divine co-creator of the beautiful life of creativity and joy and celebration that I want to co-create with Divine Source.
It's beautiful, Patrick. Yeah, this course hits right at that. So hopefully it's really helpful for you. Let me take a couple more. Hi, Ellen. You trying to unmute? Ellen? Uh-oh, she turned off the video. Just keep pushing. You got it. Okay. We'll come back to you. Yes, Paula. Good to see you, Paula.
Thank you, Doug. Great to see you.
Great.
I hope I can keep from crying while I express this. I just had such a hard year. Lost my dad. My mother got diagnosed with dementia, my brother-in-law with Alzheimer's and COVID. And my heart is breaking. It's breaking for humanity. And I've been so blessed. I work as a healer. I don't doubt my divine. I just feel flattened, and I need revival. And honestly, I just want to bask in it. So that's why I'm here, and I'm so grateful to you, Prema and Matthew. Thank you.
Paula, would you also mind emailing me privately? Is that good?
Okay, sure. Thank you very much.
I got it, Doug.
Okay. Yeah, I'll talk to you soon, Paula. Yes, Eileen, is it Ellen or Eileen?
It's Eileen.
Eileen. I'll always forget that, but
Yeah.
Eileen, yes.
Two things. Suzanne's trying to join the group and she doesn't have a link. Suzanne and I don't know how to send it. And as everybody's talking, I'm realizing that I have made such a shift in my life this past year was a real year of change, letting go. And I'm very touched by her share, because I also lost my husband and had a lot of losses, my business, and a new way of living. I mean, I do telegram and telehealth. And as everybody's talking, I realized that there is something that I want, and I don't know what it is. And I guess I expect it to unfold with this group. And I just am very excited about being part of it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, Kim, how you? Good to see you.
Hi there. I so much appreciated the meditations that you all have done, and it just really reached my heart. And I've done some work with Kerry Chin, and he actually was the one that recommended you. And when I heard that you were doing this, it really resonated with me. I want to continue to be erased and have my heart flower and be present for what is right now and be okay with that. And
Yeah.
this just feels like that right space at the right time.
Beautiful.
So thank you.
Give Gary Chen a big hello and a big hug. I love that man. He's a beautiful guy. Yes, Randy. Good to see you. You have to unmute on your end.
There we go. Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate being here. I think, sorry, I'm going to be emotional as well.
Okay. Totally okay.
I've been struggling for about the last 6 months or so with depression, and I've been on the journey for a while. And I listened to one of your tapes. It really helped me about understanding my journey, because I did have a life experience that threw me into this incredible world that I didn't want to come down from. But I did just recently, and within the last week or so, had an experience where I really felt life and what it was. And I think I've ran from the hard times, and instead I want to really hold on and realize that I can't run from them. I need to face them. And I'm hoping this course will just really hold on to that feeling that I have inside and help me through those difficult times.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing. Hi, Teresa. Good to see you.
Thank you. This past year during the quarantine, I've spent a lot of time alone. My family's up in Canada. I'm very good friends with my husband and spend time with he and my daughter.
Did you say was?
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
Actually, Joe Burrito was the first time I heard it, so I can't but I actually almost got a speeding ticket. The cop said, if you would have called him that at the beginning, I wouldn't have given you the ticket. I'm like, shit. Anyway.
That's funny.
I've gotten in touch with the loneliness. And, you know, I've written the books and done the solo show and produced with these great authors, and I'm watching the ego. So it's that spiral of, I should know better. There's ego going, I know this stuff. Then there's total insecurity going, I know nothing. Yeah. There's these heightened moments of incredible joy and laughter, but there's always this voice going, there's got to be more. And it's like, when can I quiet that voice and get out of the way? So it's you and this community and Prema and Matthew are so authentic and so committed from the heart. So I'm very excited about this, but it's the exciting thing about the quarantine is I am getting in touch with the loneliness. I mean, I kept pushing it away. And all of that, all the stuff that's coming up, it's showing itself as a gift, I know. So I feel grateful to be part of this community to get out of my way. Thank you.
Yeah. So, well, maybe I'll jump into our journey a little bit. I feel a calling to share a couple of things, and then we'll we'll go forward. Is that okay if we head more into the thing? Okay. I wasn't going to teach this for this session, but I feel it's like super important. So I'm totally going to hit on this note because it's really important. It's the core of spirituality. So we have a course called Awakening the Sacred Heart. You know, as all our courses, we've moved to a complete donation-based model. It's just, if you see our courses, attend them. You know, if you feel like you give something, great. You know, so there's a course called Awakening the Sacred Heart, and it completely addresses what I'm about to teach you or speak about. So maybe I'll put up another date for that, and then because I feel a lot of you might really benefit from that, because what we'll talk about now could be very helpful for you. I used to always think in my suffering, my misery, the thing that what eluded me and it was very hard to deal with was that my father's very stoic in nature. And both my parents were did not understand spirituality. My dad now is actually quite spiritual because of me in my journey. But I grew up with zero emotional intelligence. So I grew up with nobody explaining to me what's going on inside of me, or that what's going on inside of me is also going on inside of them. Because when you look at all the media, right, like billboards and magazines and TV, these people are being paid money to smile. They're being paid money to take on a certain role or character of inspiration or discovery. It's you're seeing a portrayal of what we consider an holistic human. Not that there's anything right or wrong. No big conspiracy theory. I mean, the underwear or the shirt or the shoes aren't going to sell if the model is truly being where they're actually at, which is like, oh, you know. So you're going to have somebody that's going to be like, yeah, life, you know. So you grow up thinking everyone else is happy, and that you're not happy, and which sucks because you're broken and everyone else is happy. And you try to turn to somebody and be like, I'm not happy. And somebody's like, I don't even know what you're talking about, because humanity at that stage is, I'm the 80s and 90s kid, right? So at that stage, it just seemed like my world, everyone around me in the Washington, D.C. area, just none of us, including myself, was aware of what the internal emotional world was. It was at that stage, a huge psychological, you know, push it all down, bury it down, and persevere. You know, that's what my dad used to say. You know, like, oh, all that stuff, I just push that down, and I show up every day at work. You know, you know, you wonder why somebody suddenly drops dead at stage 4 cancer or something. You know, at like 40, if you keep on pushing it all down. So like, I wonder why everyone's getting sick. So I remember that was my motto, like, if it hurts, push it down. So here I arrive at 24 years old, and I'm like, I'm so miserable. I remember I was at home with my parents once. My brother goes, hey, brother, and gives me that classic, like, brother slap on the hand, shoulder. I remember snapping at him, making a proclamation, like, I don't like to be touched, okay? Don't touch me. It's not okay. Like, as though that was my truth. Like, that was like who I am. I'm the guy who does not like to be touched, you know? And looking back at it, I'm like, that's how wounded I was. I couldn't even take affection from somebody. And so this is a state of humanity. Humanity is convinced if they keep persevering forward on some kind of intellectual growth, intellectual understanding, the next answer, the next equation, that they keep supporting who and what they think they are, that below the neck, they're going to somehow have a radical transformation and become happy. But all the work lies below the neck, actually. And that's the problem, is humanity has existed now up here and does not have a clue what to do down here. And it's down here that is aching. We're aching as a species. And that aching makes us aggressive and violent and hurtful and lonely, and such a lack of love. We're wounded, we're raw, like a nerve, you know? And a lot of people are so used to cutting this off that when you say, how are you feeling? I've had that said so many times in the work I've done where they go, I don't get what you mean when you say feel. Like, what do you mean by feeling? And it's like, wow. And it's not that, wow, you're so different. It's just like, God, I remember that. I remember that for decades, you know? So what I want to share with you is this. Each and every one of us, to persevere on the spiritual path, we must take responsibility for the pain inside. It's not taking responsibility like, oh, it's our fault that it's there. It's not that kind of responsibility. It's the responsibility of compassion, where we say, this is where I'm at, and this hurts, like I'm in pain. And so the responsibility is to say, this is a priority in my life, and I need to heal and address this. Like, I need to make sure that this gets healed, because the idea is, if we sweep it under the carpet, that fresh, brand new carpet won't show what's underneath it. But the reality is, sweep anything underneath the carpet, 20 years later, you peel back the carpet, it's still there. When it comes to hurts and pains and traumas, the loss of a loved one, a mother, a father, a brother, whoever, the loss of a relationship, how terrible to be with somebody for so many years and just gets ripped apart somehow or another. The loss of security of life. These losses crack you in half. They can be very, very traumatic. And these wounds, when not addressed, when not having the confidence or the faith to say, I got to see this through until it heals, they will haunt for the rest of your life. Very true, but hilarious video on YouTube like 5 years ago that to this day I speak about as I'm now. This randomly video, this older guy is walking into a convenience store, and there's two teenagers who are dressed up like straight up 90s gangsters. It's a real video, like it's a real situation that took place. And because the guy was older, these two kids were like punking him. You know, they were being aggressive to this older man. This older man was just no joke in a really cool way. So he starts walking the store, and the little kid says something like, to challenge him in a sense, you know, it's this classic aggressions thing, you know, and basically saying, you shouldn't be around here, don't come into my store, something like that, you know. And this older guy, which was shocking to see it, stops and goes, look at you, man. You're what, 14 years old, and you're trying to live this kind of life? My question to you is, what happened in your life that's got you filled with so much hurt and pain that you're now having to be like this? It hit this kid so square in the nose. He did not see that coming. You can't stop that. He immediately got real with himself and started crying, bawling, saying, my grandmother died a year ago, and I don't know what to do with it. He started bawling, and the guy actually held him and said, that's it, buddy. That's it. Let it out, let it out, let it out. And gave him a prop, like right then and there. Unbelievable. That's us. That's us. So we seek God, we seek spirituality, we seek fame, we seek financial security. But there's like the Dark Crystal movie, you know, the shard's missing from the crystal. A shard, something's been ripped out of us. We don't feel complete. A wound has happened. I've been on several private sessions with people, and they tell me, I want to learn all about God and cosmic conscious, like the big things, you know, things you read about, like, I want to know it all. And I immediately address where they got hurt. And I tell them ahead of time, you may not want to ask those questions after we're done with this session. And I understand if you never want to deal with me again after this, but we're going to do this one. And we put them through 2 or 3 weeks worth of process, screaming and crying about it, just letting the devil out of them. And then they're completely alive again. They say, I don't care about spirituality. I love you, but I'm out of here. Like, they're completely back into life. And that was exactly the outcome I was hoping for, you know? So what I'm going to discuss to you is this. This is not the lesson for today. I'm going to stop here, discuss this one thing, and then go into our lesson. So a part of this journey is all about learning the conscious breath. And to sum up one aspect of this other course that's going to be helpful is this. The reason why we cannot stay with pain inside of ourselves is because we ourselves are not understanding how the body functions to actually be able to face and heal pain inside. A lot of that actually has to do with the automatic breathing. What that means is when you fall asleep at night, you're very grateful your body knows how to breathe on its own, because you wouldn't wake up the next morning, right? So when you look at what is an automatic breath, like why does the body automate that? I mean, why doesn't it not automate everything? But that's a good one to ask. And one reason for automating the breath is because the mind starts daydreaming. You start getting sucked into the mind at any moment, washing the dishes, taking a shower, driving. You're off in la la land dreaming about something. The body has to automate its breathing. So you're technically falling asleep up here. So when somebody says, hey, does it hurt inside? Stay with that. Learn to hold space for that. The problem that you face with it is you say, I don't have the energy. I can't even do that because you're so used to living up here. So the whole thing about taking responsibility of pain and hurt inside on a basic level, just this is going to be very helpful for all of us, is the first step is you must learn in that moment of choosing to take responsibility and ensue your healing process. You have to consciously breathe. Just like we did in the beginning, deep and slow, just breathe. The moment you start breathing, it brings up the Kundalini. It brings up the spinal life force energy. That spine equals being aware and present. When you breathe slowly, it brings down the activity of the mind. The deep, slow breath brings up the Kundalini and it silences the mind. So now you've entered into the space of being completely centered below the neck. You're now here in the body. Now that you're consciously here, you're present. The mind doesn't have the grip anymore. You're not dreaming. You're awake, Now that you're doing that, we have to learn when it says taking responsibility for pain inside. It could be loneliness, it could be fear, it could be lust, it could be anything. It does not matter. Freedom is not the judgment of a feeling. Freedom is the complete embrace in the moment you're in of whatever actually is happening. We're not concerned about what it is. We're concerned about our heart softening and experiencing what's there. It's a full embrace. So the conscious breath allows your heart to embrace. We must, jealousy included, jealousy, all these emotions, somebody wrote. We must soften the heart. The reason why you can't process a hurt or pain is because when we're in la la land, which is 90% of our day, when we're in la la land, the heart, neck down, is in a state of resistance. The mind resists everything, shuts it down. So it's kind of like a statue, very tight and tightened up, When you start consciously breathing, you start on what I teach always, this is my truth, is every exhalation, you soften out of any resistance in the body, physically and emotionally. So every exhalation, you're softening. You breathe, you soften. You're consciously allowing yourself to feel. You're not doing this to bypass anything. You're doing this to walk straight into the fire, not walk back out. You're doing this to fully open the heart. So opening the heart is the opposite of resistance. You're softening. I call it forever softening the heart. Every breath, soften. Every breath, soften. You're consciously feeling. You're just taking responsibility. Consciously feeling. So if you want to be at one with life, you want to be fully healed, you want to be completely guided by everything, by the intelligence of life, it's this act actually. It's this act of the heart opening and softening and consciously feeling. The problem with humanity is We don't want to go there because it's not comfortable, because we don't want to take responsibility of our healing process. And we're convinced up here that there's a shortcut, a way around it, or some technique or process that deems enlightenment. So we're waiting for the bus to come, where all the time there's hope. No, I don't have to do that. That's a stupid idea. Yeah, that's like old school. I heard of this new technique, and that's going to happen. I'm going to just go ahead and do that. You keep trying to skirt the issue, which is a stage of spirituality, which I always call the middle part of the path. You get stuck here for decades. At a certain point, you get so exhausted of walking around the outside of the fire that hopefully in your sheer exhaustion, you collapse inside the fire. You finally just say, this, what I'm speaking, was my path. I ran from the fire as much as possible until one day life pinned me in the corner and cracked me in half. All that was left was the fire, and I had to just simply be consumed by it. It's not that I wanted to, it's just that was all that was left. So the slow conscious breath, every exhalation, you're softening and you're giving yourself the permission, the commitment, the responsibility, the intention to feel the uncomfortableness, to embrace what is asking to be felt so it can be healed. This is very, very, very important. You must learn to master this, because I'm telling you, everything else in spirituality is little beautiful icings on the cake. It's little cherries and sprinkle ornaments. But this is the most important part. The heart must restore itself. It must heal. This gift you give yourself, regardless of how arduous it is, regardless of how much you're facing everything you didn't want to face, this is the single greatest gift you can give to humanity, to your family's common lineage, and to yourself. This is the single greatest gift. Not walking around like Christ or something like that. Oh, I can heal everyone. Forget it. Throw the whole thing away. Your heart heals and opens in love. You yourself find love and experience it all the time. It's the single greatest. It's the great gift you give humanity. So anyway, I want to share that with you, and we can talk more about it at some point. I just don't want to go past our schedule. But is that helpful? Okay, cool. Sorry for people who just got done taking the other course. They're like, yeah, you've been saying that for 6 weeks. So this course is a course about getting in touch with the divine. It's about the discovery of the divine. And this discovery is your discovery. This course has an arc to it. It has a soul point that I wish to make to you, and it will build into this point to some extent based on your own insights. It's not about what I'm saying you'll find, it's what you'll find. So my journey in spirituality has been a journey of God realization. So my journey was all about from being tremendously atheist for many, many, many years, to realizing my atheism was an actual downright hatred of God, because the one who loved me and raised me like my mom died very suddenly when I was a child, and I never mourned over that. And so the big question that was unconscious in me was, if truly there was a God, how could you do this to me? That was the big sort of FU to the divine, you know? And so I became a very strong atheist. I became enormously intellectual, all based in physics and math and engineering, just like trying to understand it all, you know, and hatred actually, and not knowing this, very unconsciously, just everything's a cold, callous, fractal reaction. You can see, if you ever heard me talk when I was younger, I was the most annoying being ever. So at a certain point, that wound healed, and my heart opened to the idea of the fact that there could be something more. And I saw it was only my ignorance that hindered that relationship. You know, it's understandable, but that's what happened. And my journey, once that got healed and I started heading towards the divine, my journey became a journey of oneness. It became a journey of the walls of separation collapsing and forever collapsing, and finding my space between life, God, and myself. That was the big question. So this statement that I'm about to tell you was a very profound statement for me in my journey. And this is the heart of this course. And it will be going layer after layer heading in that direction. So the statement of this course is like this. It's not that you awaken to discover the reality of God. It's not that you awaken to discover the reality of God. It's that it's that God awakens to discover the reality of itself. So it's not that you awaken to discover the reality of some God. It's that God awakens to discover the reality of itself. And so that's the journey of God realization. It's the great journey, actually. When people say awakening, enlightenment, there are all these different terms, you know. But how I would describe it, for me at least, is it's a journey from believing you're something separate to a journey of coming face to face that you, God, life are the one singular being, that there is no other. There's not another. It's very profound. It's the journey of awakening from the illusion of feeling mortal to discovering the fact that you yourself are eternity. As I always say to people, it's not that you're eternal. It's that you discover you are eternity itself. So this is a classic kind of understanding in the sense of the journey of God realization. To me is the great journey. You know, I like that journey so much. That's the one that means so much, because it brings you face to face with the big questions, and it doesn't give you an answer on a piece of paper. It leaves you with the actual state and experience. I'm not promising this as the outcome of this course, but I can definitely help show you at least what I'm seeing, to help provoke you to discover finding what you see, you know? So this whole week coming up, first of all, does this resonate with what I'm speaking so far? Cool. So I've emailed all of you LSD, a big vial of it. So moving forward in the courses, we'll take large swigs of it, and then we'll just get into the journey really seriously. So that's to be our Thursday night processes, you know? They'll go all night long. So this the week of discovery. And so I'm going to hit on a handful of points that are just important points for the foundation of the journey. So I'm just going to kind of go for it. I have to first drink Colombian coffee. I don't know if you know about Colombian coffee, but I certainly do. With my wife being Colombian, making coffee. So I'm going to go down like a frequently asked questions list. I think that's a very good way to go about this. Short, sweet, frequently asked questions. One thing is, I have not personally found it true that there is a God sitting on the clouds someplace else that somehow we can get in touch with, other times we cannot get in touch with. What I have found for myself, I think Prem and Matthew are on the same boat, is that God is forever present. God is forever present. So when you're praying to God, you're relating to God. You never have to worry about, is it asleep? Is it awake? Did it hear that one? God is forever here and now. As you grow in much higher states of consciousness, you'll realize the here and the now is so insanely, epically important. But if you want to know where God is, I will tell you it is here and now, eternally. So our relationship to God is a really cool one, because guess what? It's forever with you in the very moment you're in. And that's awesome. That totally cool. Because it sure does suck if God's on a different time zone. You have to make your prayers at a certain time. It wakes up, he hears them, she hears them, whatever, you know. So that's one thing. One thing that's really fun watching the Discovery Channel, watching nature programs, is that you can tell when you watch the intricacies of insects and animals and plants that there is absolutely no judging God. I mean, there cannot be a judging God if you're watching Discovery Channel. I mean, it is game on what goes down in the nature kingdom. My favorite example out of all things that I've found that dropped my jaw open is the horrendous act of courting with the praying mantis. You see, here's a story of it. This amazing praying mantis named Tom sees Susie and decides to take her out on an amazing date on his favorite tree. He buys her presents. He takes her to a nice Thai restaurant, the whole 9 yards. Like, he opens doors for her. I don't know if there's doors in nature, but there probably is. And she falls in love with him. They fall in love with each other. And finally they say, let's mate. That sounds fun, you know? So they decide to Netflix and chill. And so they start mating. And they're expressing such love. There's definitely 70s music playing. It's awesome. And right before the show ends, she turns around and starts eating his head off. Like, if there's a right or wrong, that's it right there. Like, that's the epitome of wrong. But no, there's no lightning. There's no God that comes down. Like, there's no hell there. I mean, that's to be expected. Like, hey, warning, be a monk if you're praying mantis, immediately do your vows of chastity and learn to meditate. Like, that's your only hope. So the whole thing is, we are caught up in a reality because of how the mind works, that we believe there's a judgmental God on some level. I'm not talking about some gross, obtuse way, because you might say, well, I already know that. I'm not, that's not what I'm speaking about. I'm talking about the subtle bone in you. I'm talking about the subtlety. Like, here's one for you. Don't you think God favors the person who lives more in gratitude than the person who doesn't really have gratitude? I mean, definitely, right? Like, God definitely says, you're cool. I love you. Bless you, but you're cool, right? Like, on some level. Like, why else are you expressing gratitude if not to say, God, for my 5 wives and a Ferrari, right? Okay. The point is that how profound is it if there's actually no judgmental God? Like, how profound is that? How profound is it to finally realize, or to find in yourself, that the mechanism of judgment is actually your own psychological personalities? It's a psychological personality that says of right and wrong based on what you learned, of what someone has told you, whatever it is. It's the psychology of you that is pinning you in judgment. So it's very, very important as we go in this course to understand that there's actually no judgment by God. And here's why, actually, and the cool way of seeing it. When you look from the state, that's when I say God's an experience. This is an experience that you can have. This is my truth. When you look from the state of that state of oneness from the God, all you actually see is all of creation is it vibrating, a small aspect of it vibrating, appearing as time and space. That there's nothing that is not it down to the subatomic particle level. Everything is eternity, having a vibrational experience appearing as time and space. All in this great dance of just simply expression. Simply constant expression happening. You're this, there's that, all these things, here's the walls, etc. There can't be any judgment as far as God's concerned, because there's nothing in creation that isn't it actually. So that's really, really wonderful. So now it comes down to the understanding. I'm throwing a lot at you because this is just a bubble we're creating of a relationship, trying to kind of knock off the the heavy pillars so we can just get down to an intimate relationship, you know? So God isn't off in the distance. God is here and now. God doesn't know how to judge because God's playing the game of everything. How awesome is that, right? Great to know. Amongst all cultures and all time periods, God has been called something different. I love the word God. I'm sorry if that's triggering anybody. The word God's pretty epic. I love that word personally. That's just, it's easy to say too. It's just 3 letters. So it's one syllable, right? So throughout all cultures, God has been related to something different. It's been talked about completely different. It has different rituals, and different cultures relate in some kind of way differently. And it seems to respond very powerfully under each one of those names, under each one of those rituals. It seems to somehow respond accordingly to each of those cultures. That's very fascinating. That's to be really noted. Like, oh my God, like it's showing up in so many different faces. What does this mean? The cool thing is, in Eastern philosophy, they figured that out a long time ago, which is awesome to know. It's a great thing to know. And what it is that eternity, the incomprehensible, the supreme consciousness, awareness, intelligence of life, has no problem at all in all of its enormous capacity of being alive, aware, and intelligent beyond all time and space, has no problem at all relating to you in whatever way you choose to relate to it. How wonderful. So if you want to grab a group of people and go move off to the mountains and call God a certain name, create certain rituals, and expect God to respond a certain way, you may have an amazing, miraculous life of experiencing God's expression in that filter. This is why people who are great Christian mystics will start having the different, I don't know the name for it, it's where the nails went in for Christ. They'll start having that. Why? Why? Because every part of their unconscious, probably from previous lifetimes as well, their unconscious, their conscious mind, the whole will of their heart is craving, is their whole heart is desiring to know God through the filter of Lord Christ. They want. You go in India, you'll constantly see honey pouring out of sacred statues, because in that culture, that's how God experiences. So the most beautiful thing to take away from this is that your relationship to it can be so absolutely personal, so custom. And the only requirement to it is just one single actual requirement that allows for it to flow, you know? That requirement, which is the heart of one of the things we're talking about today, so I'm putting a note on that, an emphasis, is being authentic. Being authentic is the heart of accessing divine grace. Authenticity is key. Because I'm telling you, if you're trying to relate to God through the idea you need to be a saint, you're stepping so far away from where you're actually at. Because I don't know what a saint is. I don't get it. Was a saint really what you think he was or she was? Or did you just catch them on a good day and say, oh, they're like that all the time? Because truly somebody being authentic is embracing where they're actually at. When you embrace where you're actually at, you're like completely in harmony with all of life. Because why? Because all of life is affecting and completely dependent with where you're at. There's no separation in anything. So where you're at has to be acknowledged and embraced, has to be actually cherished. You have to say, yes, I'm nothing but a ball of fear right now. I'm so uncomfortable. That is what is happening. From that space of saying, this is happening, I'm not going to judge it. It's not wrong. This is the experience. From authenticity, when we relate from authenticity, it is like the highest Wi-Fi connection. It is like all the bars are filled, you know, on the Wi-Fi signal. Straight up, you're completely in alignment with life. This is why we don't have to become a better person to relate to grace or to receive grace. We don't have to become a different person. We don't have to clean up our act and then God reveals itself. No. Do you think I care in my body how saintly my cells are? Do you know when I put my attention on a cell? When it starts itching. If a cell starts itching, the whole body naturally goes like that. Because the cell was being authentic. It was saying, this isn't something not right. I'm asking for help. The whole creation just sweeps in and simply works with it. Because as far as God is concerned, as far as nature is concerned, there's no separation at all. As far as right now, how the physical brain is developed, creating a psychological sense of self, we are in a time period where we're somehow feeling as though we've broken off from all of that. That little fellow naturally fades away as we move into higher states of consciousness. It's seen through like a pane of glass. So, authenticity is the gateway for grace. So here we go. We have a God, the divine, supreme consciousness, whatever name you want it to be, male, female, both, neither, that is here and now with you always, eternally. If somebody goes into Maha Samadhi, these big saints, you know, they're going into this moment outside of time and space. That's actually what happens. Somebody vanishes in the pure white light. They go completely in this moment so deeply, they're outside of time and space. So God is here. God cannot judge. God is forever present, forever listening, and does not judge. And it's absolute extreme intelligence in life. It relates to you in any way you wish to relate to it. It can forever change with you. You can next day wake up in a different way. But the one important is you have to be authentic. And a person's authentic, good mood, bad mood, whatever, and they're speaking to or they're relating to the divine, they live a life of miracles. So this whole week coming up is a week of discovering this very simple principle. It's a week of getting kind of back in tune with the great relationship, the eternal relationship. So how this looks is very, very simple. We'll follow the model of saints and sages. What this looks like in this relationship, the real secret is to chit-chat. Chit-chatting is the secret to the divine. It's where authentically you are talking to your friend. The greatest kind of relationship is friendship, something my teacher taught me. So we're going to relate to the divine as a best friend. We're going to know this fellow has our back because it doesn't judge. It is the safety net of all of life. It is the thing that steps in when we can't go any further, as we'll discover in this journey. So with the process we're going to enter into, let's see what my time is. Good, we have enough time. The process we're going to enter into is just going to get in touch with this presence as a friend. And our journey this week, which requires your effort, it just does. The journey this week is going to start learning to consciously invite your friend into your day-to-day activities. You're going to learn to consciously be like a child and play and dance with your friend. This simple act of being authentic, inviting the divine as a friend to play, dance, and help you at any given moment, these two things will start yielding so many miracles all throughout your day. You will not believe it. You're going to be like, oh my God, I just asked my best friend this 30 minutes ago and now it showed up. Like we were just talking before the class with Prema, and she's saying, make sure you tell them to do this, you know? So this is, I'm relaying actually her thing. She says, the reason why is I remember once when I was at this point, I very strongly said, God, if you're real, I must have 2 yellow roses. You must bring me 2 yellow roses. And 2 days later, somebody actually showed up and brought her 2 yellow roses saying, we found this in the bushes somewhere randomly. And I felt so strongly you're supposed to have this and put it on your altar. And she lost it, you know. She took the roses and just started bawling because, come on, how amazing is that? So life, when you look at God being here and now and all things being it, life is nothing but a relationship with it, actually. And when we're authentic and we're relating to it and we're treating it as a best friend and we're saying, help me with this, help me with that, I'm stuck with this. I would love for you to show me a sign that you're listening to me right now. I'd love for you to bring me a beautiful miracle today. You can even be very specific. The moment you start relating to it like that, that's the filter you're choosing. That's why I feel everyone who wants to know God, an atheist, is experiencing the God it says is true, you know? Like when I was very strongly an atheist, it's all science, it's all like this, nothing can help me. And that filter was saying, and so be it. That's fine. See you, you know, well, it doesn't matter to me. You're here forever. You're good. At a certain point, as I started saying, I would like to see miracles. Then all of a sudden, all these synchronicities, auspiciousness, miraculous things started happening. Even though I was in pain, even though I was still suffering, even though so many different things, I wasn't some sainted person on any level, just a normal being, but now it invited in this other aspect. And I started falling in love with all these miracles. So this week is going to be this thing, and we'll do a process to help get us in touch with that. On a day-to-day level, moving forward for this week, I would ask of you 7 minutes of your time in the morning. You can pick the time and you can pick the place. It's best if you keep the same time, the same place, because that actually builds up energies in that area, makes it more conducive to continue. What the 7 minutes would look like is like this. You're going very slowly for 7 minutes. So you're gonna time yourself how to breathe 7 minutes. I always say light a candle, you know, keep a candle lit. You just breathe very slowly and steadily for 7 minutes. You can time it. And at the end of that 7 minutes, you're just gonna take a moment and you're gonna invoke or connect with your best friend. And you're gonna ask your best friend to be with you throughout the whole day and to constantly, and that you'll take a commitment to constantly talk with it throughout the whole day. So it's kind of like you're saying, you be with me, I promise to talk with you. And if there's any miracles or anything that you want to see happen that day from your divine, that's the space in that moment to set those with your divine. So you can actually say, I really would like this to happen today. I would really like that to happen today. Please bless me with this, bless me for that. However you want. It's however authentically you speak. Remember, we're not trying to be saints here. We're just being ourselves. So you're going to breathe consciously for 7 minutes, staring at a candle, just relaxing into the heart. So every breath, you're softening into the heart and you're feeling what is there. Just becoming present. After that 7 minutes, you can close your eyes, put your hands on your heart, and then you're going to ask the divine presence to fill your heart. Ask it to be with you the whole day, and you promise to bring it into or continue to talk with it all throughout the day through your activities, asking it for help, insights, whatever. You're just chit-chatting, however it is. And then whatever miracles or prayers you want through the day, do that. Do this with heart. Make sure you feel this very strongly. That's the power of the prayer, you know? When somebody feels very strongly from the heart, it happens very fast. So this is what we'll be doing on a day-to-day basis. And of course, in Telegram each day, will be guiding this process step by step throughout the whole week. So that's that. Does anyone have any questions before we go into a process? Are we good?
Yes.
Sure, please. Yes. You muted yourself on accident. Unmute yourself. Yep, you got it.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, no problem.
I was just confirming that piece of in prayer to see it as if it's already done rather than asking for something that I don't already have, but to see it as if it's here.
Yeah.
When you said that.
Absolutely. You can do that if you want, if that calls to you. Everyone will have a different thing. So for people who are taking their very first step, I just want them to get used to chit-chatting, you know? But if you're at a place where you feel that's very powerful for you and that's very helpful, absolutely do that. Whatever's authentic for you and that you feel works is definitely the right way. Hi, Teresa.
I don't know if this is useful for everyone. I don't want to waste people's time, but I've had experiences of the divine as Buddha, Christ, Bhagwan, Kuan Yin. There's a whole bunch of masters I see, and then I see the light being the core, so that they are aware of their own divinity. So I have a hard time, and maybe that's my ego playing games, choosing one master as a friend. Sometimes I go to Bhagwan, sometimes I go to Jesus. So I'm feeling confusion, and maybe that's not a problem others have. I don't know.
Beautiful. I'll speak on that for one moment. Yeah. There's no right or wrong to any of it. There is no favoritism to any of it. There's no aspect like what I'm hoping to help us all see is that which is eternally present with you has no form, but it can absolutely be connected to through any form that you choose. And so all that actually matters is the feeling in the heart and the ability to talk to it as a best friend. And if one moment you feel it needs to take on the shape of a divine mother of some sort, fantastic. At another moment, if it needs to take on something like a Buddha, great. It all doesn't matter. What matters really is, are you feeling it in a sense of authenticity from the heart? Is the heart feeling a sense that you know you're talking to the sacred? You're talking to the eternal. If you're relating to somebody, the idea is that you're talking to some master and that they somehow are linked to some God, a different approach, which is what we're getting in touch with, is the birthright of you, which is we're getting in touch with God directly. So whatever form you want to choose or not, what matters is you understand that it only knows love. It's forever present with you, and it cannot judge, and it's listening. So from your heart, you're relating like a friend, authentically. And then the whole show starts, you know? Cool. Yes. Is that it? I think that's it. Okay. So is it okay if we go like 7 minutes over? Is that cool? Okay. Great. So we're going to start a little process. Let's just close your eyes. Let's sit upright. Keep your palms face up on our thighs. Just breathe slow and deep. That's when I say a conscious breath, like I'll say in the beginning. What I mean is when you inhale, your belly comes out like a balloon. The air fills all the way to the top of the throat. And then you're going to gently, naturally exhale from the top of the throat down, longer than you inhale, and deflating the belly fully. That's one round of a conscious pranic breath. So just keep doing that. So you can keep your eyes closed, but there's something called a breath of fire. And if you've been hanging around with us, you'll know what this is. If you're new here, I'll just explain it. You're going to sharply inhale. And when you sharply inhale, your belly is going to come out like a balloon very fast. So you're going to inhale sharply, and it'll make this kind of sound through your nose or your mouth. But it'll sound something like this. And when you exhale, you're going to exhale again very sharply, pushing the belly inwards, deflating the balloon very fast. So it'll sound like this, like that. So we're going to start at a slow speed. Just follow along. I'll take you through the whole journey. So we'll just start with a slow speed of breath of fire. Go faster. Go faster. Go as fast as you can. Exhale fully. Hold your breath. Focus on the crown of the head. Just simply connect or invoke to your divine. Inhale as deep as you can. hold your breath, clench your anus, crown of the head. Again, connect with your divine. Unclench, exhale fully. And do it 2 more times. Inhale as deep as you can. Hold your breath, clench tightly the anus, crown of the head. Connect with your divine. Unclench, exhale. Last time, inhale as deep as you can. Hold, clench, crown of the head, and connect. Unclench, exhale. Just inhale deep and slow. Bring your whole focus into your heart. Every exhalation, soften the shoulders, soften the face, soften the heart, soften your emotions. Just focus on the heart. We're going to be chanting 7 times the word young. So take a deep breath. Just breathe deep and slow. Soften even further into the heart. Embrace whatever's there. Bring both your hands over your heart. I want you to turn into, sitting inside your heart, turn into a small child. Just be in your heart. Be a child. Inside your heart, I want you to manifest the most sacred throne. It can be look like anything you want it to look like. Make it so divine. But manifest, build a throne in your heart. Pay attention to every little detail. Once you have your sacred, divine throne built, I want you to stand next to it, and with all of your heart now, I want you to ask your supreme friend, your eternal friend, your friend who is always eternally present here and now. I want you to ask this most loving being to start walking from a great distance inside your heart, all the way up to you. So ask with your whole heart for this divine friend to start coming towards you. From the great distance, you can see a figure of great light walking towards you. Closer and closer it gets. You may notice it has some kind of form, or is just simply an embodiment of love and light. Just watch it coming closer and closer to you in your heart. You can maybe make out its face, its clothing. It's okay if it remains like light. As it gets closer and closer, I want you to go, run up to it, and jump into its arms. Go and be embraced and embrace that eternal friend. And I want you to hold it and thank it for being here. And I want you to spend a couple moments just talking to it. Say whatever you want inside your heart to it. Let it talk to you. I want you to tell the divine your hardships you're going through in your life right now. Something led you to this course. Something's leading you through some kind of experiences. Something's asking to be healed or to grow or to become unstuck. I want you to express this in the arms of your divine. Where are you at right now? What do you need? Let's ask our eternal friend. So now I want you to show your divine the sacred throne that you created. I want you to take your divine's hand and have it sit there in the center of your heart. You can show it how you built it, what it looks like, all the details. Once your divine sits down, I want you to crawl into the lap of your divine. And once again, like a child, be held by your eternal friend. And I want you to ask the divine to very, very powerfully be in your heart. From moving this day forward, and forever growing at that capacity every day onwards. And I want you to ask your best friend, your eternal friend, that any prayers that your heart asks for, that your divine simply answers them immediately. That whatever your heart asks for, the divine simply gives it. And I want you to now ask your divine that you wish to lead a life of tremendous miracles, always being shown that your divine is constantly with you throughout the day. That miracles should simply rain down on you all throughout the day as an expression of love and playfulness from your divine. So pray very strongly for that. And I want you to tell your divine, sort of like a promise, that from this day forward, you're going to have the most amazing best friendship, to chit chat with it, to talk with it, to invite its grace and its wisdom and its help and anything and everything you do throughout the day. That you want this relationship and you're asking for help. And that you'll invite it into everything you do. So tell the divine these things if it's your truth. And if for any reason you forget, you're going to ask the divine now to always remind you that its presence is right there so you can continue your friendship. So, being held in the arms of your divine, express gratitude and love. Give your divine a kiss on the cheek. Let it hold you. And know that this is the most important sacred relationship. So you can just slowly, but stay completely nestled with whatever the divine is for you. So, celebrating Easter today, see if you can spend the day today constantly bringing the divine presence and relating to it as a best friend in your heart with all that you do today and all that you celebrate, etc., whether you celebrate this holiday or not. So I wish you all the best. I'm honored that you all are taking this journey, and I will see you tomorrow on Telegram. And please remember the morning breathing and connection to your divine each day. That'll be very, very helpful. So namaste to you, and we'll talk tomorrow.